Hi readers, my name's Katie. If you're new here, if not, welcome back. Today, oh boy, we are diving in to the emotional pain, but like the pretty kind. The kind where you read a book, cry your eyes out, and then proceed to buy multiple editions of it because one copy it doesn't do it justice. This is for the readers who've been emotionally wrecked and still went back for more. I see you because I am you. So we're gonna get into the 6 books that broke me most and why I now own like a crazy number of copies of each. Let's get into this. Book 1 is Circe by Madeline Miller. This book hurt me in that slow, ancient ache kind of way. It's not loud. It's a quiet devastation that builds with every page until you're crying in the last chapter and you don't even know why. Like, I read this book 2 years ago and I still think about it constantly. It just did me in. It's lyrical, it's haunting, it's feminist rage wrapped in a lonely little island and some gorgeous prose, and I adore Circe, which is now why I own a paperback copy, a hardback copy, and the special UK edition. I wish I had the Illuminate edition of them, but I don't. So we've got the paperback, and like this cover is just gorgeous. I honestly, when I first ever seen it, I seen this cover and I fell in love with it and I just needed to read it. I didn't know what it was about at that time, and then I have the hardcover. I only have this cover of this copy of this book because I found it at a vendor market and it was on a table and they were selling their books for $2. So I seen this sitting there and I was like, I'm taking it. And then this last one is an edition my parents got me for Christmas 2 years ago now. It's just so pretty. It's so gorgeous, and it just, the cage, because she's caged on her island, and I will not be like a bird bred in a cage. I thought too dull to fly even when the doors stand open. It's so good. It's such a good book. And when reading the last few pages, it will feel like the ocean is swallowing you whole. With grace, but no mercy. Next up, Fourth Wing. Honestly, I originally picked up this book mainly because of how popular it was on TikTok, and I just wanted to see if the hype was real. For me, it was, and I absolutely devoured the book in like one sitting. I have now reread it 3 times, and it is the most reread book on my shelves because I am not a rereader. There's so many books I want to get to that I rarely reread books. I also picked this up because dragons, obviously, and the romance. What I didn't sign up for was the emotional trauma this book would put me through. Liam dying was an absolute heartbreak, and at this point, anytime I reread the book, I can't. I have to skip where he dies because I cannot do it. I think we'll go in order of what I got. So I have the just normal. Because I took so long to get to it, I didn't want to buy it originally, and so I don't have the original sprayed edges, which honestly, who cares? Sprayed edges are nice, but the amount of people, like the resellers for the book with the original dragons on the edge. It's just crazy. So I will live with this one. This is the original cover. This is my book that I have reread. It's been through a lot. And so technically I have 4 copies of Fourth Wing, but 2 of them are duplicates because I ordered one off of Amazon and they hadn't shown up by the time that it came out, and I wanted to make sure that I actually had them. And then when I did get them, after buying them from the store, I offered them to my friend so I didn't take them back to the store, but she had already got hers. So I was like, whatever, I've kept them. I don't even know, can't see them, but it's sitting on that shelf hidden in the background. But I have 2 copies of the holiday edition of Fourth Wing. And then the other book I was talking about was Iron Flame, so I have 2 copies of Iron Flame as well, because this came out the same time as Iron Flame did, or around the same time. But yeah, I have two copies of this. I have not read this one, but there doesn't seem to be anything special about it other than the cover and the end pages. We've got, on the original one, it's a map. On this one, it's claws through a picture. And then my last copy is the paperback copy, which actually I love, and I am waiting on the Iron Flame copy to come out, which you'd think it would be out by now, but it's not in Canada at least, not that I've seen. But we've got the paperback edition. This one's got the dragons. I wish I could copy and paste them from this book to the other book. They are pretty cool, but I wouldn't spend a crazy amount of money to get them. Like, it's so pretty though. And this says new bonus content included, which maybe in my next reread I will reread this one. But yeah. Next up is Shatter Me. Now this was one of the book series I read when I was getting back into reading. It's YA chaos at its finest. The way that Tahara Mafi writes, the prose is practically poetry. The emotions are feral and the characters are constantly one breath away from completely unraveling, just like I was when reading. I have reread Shatter Me. I think I've reread it 3 times, maybe only 2. It might only be 2. I can't remember completely. But, so I have 3 copies again. I have 2 whole copies of the whole series. I have these original covers. This is the only one that I have gone through. I didn't write it, and I wasn't at that stage in my life yet, annotating it. But I did go through and tab up every moment that I loved. Ones I hated, that type of thing. She's well loved. And honestly, I absolutely love the cover. I love the cover on these books. It's just, they just take me back. The next cover I have is an edition that came out with Indigo sometime last year. Same eye. It just doesn't have the Shatter Me on the front. Yeah, but it got it on the spine. On the back it says, I spent my life folded between the pages of books. In the absence of human relationships, I formed bonds with paper characters. And then on the end pages, well, first, look at how gorgeous this book is. Like, and then it says the same, I spent my life folded between the pages of books. But then on the inside it says, I am not insane, which if you read the book, you would understand, because that's a heavy topic, and the crossing out in the very beginning of the book. But then, yeah, and then the words on the edge. I have the Fairy Loot. I have the Fairy Loot edition of these books. I only brought down the first book because it's the only one that fits this, the title of this video, 3. But, so we have Shatter Me, and oh my goodness, it's just gorgeous. Look at those edges. So pretty. Oh yes, and these books, they've got a pretty undercover as well, but this is not to be forgotten. Not to be forgotten is the reverse dust jacket. The amount of work that Fairy Loot put into these books is phenomenal, and these will always have a place on my shelf. But yeah, this series, I'm not saying it raised me, but it did emotionally ruin me in every format possible, and I guess that's why I own 2 complete sets of this series. Next up, we have Girls of Paper and Fire. I realize I just said that I went and only did the first book of Shatter Me, because the name of this video is like 3 editions of each book, but I've included one, and I forgot about it, but I included one book that I only have 2 editions of, which only. So this book, honestly, I feel like it's not talked about enough. I absolutely fell in love with this series. I fell in love with the first book, and I had to have more, honestly. It hits you in the soft spots. It's beautifully painful exploration of survival, trauma, and reclaiming your voice in a world that tries to silence it. The women in this world are, some of them at least, are paper girls, and these paper girls are taken and given up to the king, and he can call upon them whenever. I can't remember how many they give up at first. I went in expecting a sapphic fantasy with some court intrigue, because there is a court in it. If I can find the map. This is the map. I don't even know if that's gonna focus, but this is the women's court, which is where the paper house is. But yeah, the first edition I have is the original hardcover. I absolutely love this cover. And then the other cover I have is the the Lumicrate special edition, which I believe the box for the whole set is still available on their website, which is absolutely crazy to me. It just goes to show how little this book is appreciated. It says falling in love is the most dangerous thing women like us can do. But yeah, this book, it's quiet, but it's the kind of quiet that echoes, and it'll echo forever, and you'll never forget it. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This book, it's so heartbreaking. It's elegant, lonely, magical, and it's just utterly devastating. It's got the ache of wanting to be seen. It's the pain of being forgotten, and it's a love letter to art, time, and memory, and knowing what Addie LaRue has had to go through as you're reading it. It's just heartbreaking. It destroyed me. Like, I cried, and I mourned. I mourned for a fictional girl who lived in the margins of history, and someone I'll never have the chance to meet. And I think that's one of the things that hits hardest with some books, when the author is so great at just making you fall in love with the character, and you just, the way that you get attached to the character, it makes it so much harder to detach yourself from the character. But so we'll get into the editions I own. I'm not 100% sure what the two small ones are, but I'll start with the first one, and it's my original copy. So we've got The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This book, I've read this copy. It's well loved. But then these copies of this book, I absolutely love. I'm not 100% sure what they are, like if they're UK or not. I did buy them off of eBay, so oh, it's so gorgeous. And I've saved the best for last. Same cover but different color. It's so pretty. Brown. I love this book. I love this edition of this book. And actually, I don't think I've ever taken the dust jacket off of this book. Oh my gosh. And the end papers. Oh my goodness. You hear the cracking? I don't think it's ever been opened. And then there's pictures inside. I'm absolutely in love with this edition. We have Strange the Dreamer. This is a book so dreamlike, so stunning, so gently crushing, that I didn't even notice the pain until the last sentence. Lazo Strange is the most soft-hearted, wonderful little bookworm, and the story takes his kindness and rings it through the ringer, and mine with it. It just absolutely pulls at your heartstrings, and the love story in this, oh my goodness, it's been so long since I've read this book. I don't think I've read this since I was in high school, but just the way that it made me feel, it's still there, and I eventually want to reread it, but I'm scared to reread it and it not be what I remember it being. So I can't even start with the edition that I read, because I no longer own that cover of this book, I don't believe. But we'll start with the first one I've owned for the longest, and it's the original hardcover. Only special thing is the moth on the cover, on the naked hardback, sorry. It's still a very pretty cover, I must say. Next up is the UK paperback. I found this while thrifting, actually. It was an amazing find. I went in for nothing and I found this and Muse of Nightmares in this cover. I just absolutely love this edition of this book. It's in perfect condition, which is amazing for a thrift. Yeah. And then lastly, I believe this is Illumicrate. Yes, this is the Illumicrate special edition. Spine. There's the back and the edges. Oh, it's stunning. It's so pretty. It says, I turned my nightmares into fireflies and caught them in a jar, which is what I remember is an amazing quote in the book. We've got these end pages. Oh goodness. Actually, I want that framed and put up on my wall. And then it is signed by Laini Taylor, and yeah. So yeah, these books emotionally wrecked me, and I said, thank you. May I have another? And then I bought 3 copies of each. If you've ever bought a book that broke your heart and then went back for the special edition just to relive it, I see you. We're in this together. We can get through the pain eventually. Let me know in the comments which book emotionally ruined you so bad you needed multiple editions, or recommend one that'll destroy me. Next. My shelves and my feelings are maybe ready. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe cry with me in the comments. Can't wait for any of these recommendations. Bye.